All right, welcome Web Buzz Nation. All right, this is kind of an exciting one for me because this is the first time I'm doing the intro. I'm actually running the main hosting part of things, so I appreciate that with my co-host today, Shawn Tiberio. So how's it going, Shawn?
What is going on?
I
Folks, give
promise.
him a round of applause. I don't care
Yeah.
if you're driving, whatever, just give him a round of applause. 2 seconds before I hit the intro video, I said, all right, dude, rip the Band-Aid off. You do the intro.
Love it, love it. And this is part of a lot of you guys don't know this. Some of you guys that were at our mastermind event, Shawn's mastermind event, he does a great job with Unleash the Inner Lion. I kind of shared with everybody, is like, I've given Shawn full range on just taking me to that next level. He's just such a great person for personal development and really take you to that next level in whatever you're doing. So I really appreciate that. And these are the type of things he does. He does to you. He puts you on the spot, gets you out of your comfort zone. But guess what? Once you do that, it gets easier every time. Promise.
To be honest, how bad were you sweating as that countdown clock was getting 10, 9, 8?
Not gonna lie, a little bit, because usually I'm kind of looking at my notes on what we're gonna talk about, and then you do the intro. But this time I had to kind of like put that aside and go with what I had already gone through. Right, a lot of us usually try to memorize a lot of things what we're doing, and then a curveball gets thrown at us and we stumble. And what I've been trying to work on, and what I feel like I've improved in 2021 going into 2022 is just being able to think on the spot and being able to make decisions on the spot and stay 100% behind them. And I think that's been a huge improvement and a huge piece of what we do as entrepreneurs too, right? It's like you always have to make very important decisions for your team, for your business, things like that. And regardless if it's the right or wrong decision, sometimes you don't know, you don't have all the information, but the best thing I've found that you have to do is just make a decision and go all in. And you learn, a lot of people say, well, what about the mistakes? What about if I fall on my face? It doesn't work. What if I lose money, right? What if something happens? Well, there's a lot of what ifs, but if you look at it, it's like, if it works in your favor, you take yourself to that next step, right? That next step in the success. If it doesn't, it's the mindset. You use it as a learning curve, right? And you take that lesson, and next time you're ready for it even better, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, with that, just want to kind of check out how Shawn's doing over there, see what's going on, man. How you feeling?
I'm doing good. Doing good. This week has flown by. It's kind of a fun week. We're leading into the Valentine's Day weekend slash, it's not really over the weekend. I guess it's actually on Monday, but Deanna and I are heading off to the Grand Canyon first thing Saturday morning. Gonna spend a couple days off grid out in the middle of no man's land, which actually leads exactly into some of the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Yep.
Coincidence or not. But other than that, it's been awesome. I want to say hello to everybody watching us live. If you're on live, go ahead, throw us a little comment down there. Just let us know you're here. Say hello. If you're watching this later on a replay, listen to it later, whatever the case, on a podcast outlet. Leave us a little rate and a review. That's kind of your way of saying, hey, I was here on there. But before we get into too many things, can I take a second and thank our sponsor for today?
Go for it, man. Very important. Yeah, absolutely.
So our sponsor of the show today is LeadVaultCRM.com. If you guys have not heard of LeadVault CRM, it is what I personally believe is one of the best CRM and automated marketing platforms for real estate professionals out there. Kind of combined everything from your texting platforms to your automated emails to your workflow builders to a CRM system to an inbound phone system, outbound phone system, inbound text system, all under one big, powerful software. And a lot of our clients have been jumping on and using LeadVault, seeing some really great success. My favorite story about LeadVault, I don't know if you were on the other day, Roger, with some of our clients, but John May from Rilo Homes up there in Kentucky, Louisville area of Kentucky. He literally he put the chat widget onto his site. 2 days later, he had somebody on his website chatting through on his chat bot. And the chat function with Lead Vault is actually a text. It's a text bot. It's not online chat where they have to sit on your website. They can send a message and the replies are going to come to the phone number they've given for that to go. He got a message 2 days after he puts this thing on, locks it up, turns it into a deal. A few days go by, gets another message through his chat bot from somebody that was on his website, turns around and makes a deal out of it. And he kind of set a standard amongst our clients. I was talking to some of our other clients, Gene and Kim, yesterday up in Chicago, and Gene was like, I finally got that turned on, got it all set up, and I put it on my website just the other day, but I haven't gotten anything yet. Like John has set this standard that now everybody thinks the second they put it on, people are going to start. But it was awesome to hear, in a market like Louisville, where John's doing really, really well, showing up in search. He wasn't getting that kind of stuff prior to, but now he's got that extra outlet for them to get in touch. And it turned out to be 2 sweet deals for him. So big shout out to Lead Vault CRM. There's a link running down beneath the screen. We'll also put it in the show notes, leadvaultcrm.com. Book yourself a strategy session. Take a look at it. Really just an in-depth demo of the entire platform over there. So anything you want to say about our sponsor Lead Vault before we?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a huge piece that you just kind of mentioned there. And some of the things that sometimes we forget, right? It's like one of them I want to kind of mention is going to be the way we look at our tools, right? The way we look at our tools to do our craft. In this case, it's an actual CRM. It's a software to be able to complete certain tasks for your business, right? If I was a carpenter, I'd probably invest and check out my work, my verbiage, invest in a hammer, right? Because it's a tool I need to do my craft. A lot of times we buy tools and we look at them as expenses. And when you look at something like as an expense, then you better reanalyze that tool, right? In this case, I love what you described there because Lead Volt, getting everything together, putting everything under one umbrella, is an investment in your business. There's a lot of different tools that are in there that are very specific for real estate investors and real estate professionals, but it actually puts them to work. It's like having another teammate on your team. So that's awesome. And the reason I kind of bring that up is because I actually shared in our private group with our clients, right, today, some stats on SMS, which is texting and email, and how important that is, and compared to some Facebook ads, for example. And the numbers are staggering. I didn't come up with those numbers myself. This is me being a part of a community of SEOs, marketers, and they, all of us together sharing information and aggregating that information and coming up with some of these numbers of what we're seeing. And the numbers are staggering. I mean, if you don't have a system, for example, if you don't have a branding, strategy, which I push a lot with SEO, right? A branding strategy for online, and then have another strategy for how you're going to communicate with that traffic that wants to interact with your brand, then you're missing a leg, right? You're missing a quadrant. Sometimes there's a system, right? So just want to kind of leave it at that, how great systems like this, like Lead Vault, are for a business, and how it can really take you to that next level. But absolutely, man, kudos to Lead Vault and what's going on over there for sure.
Awesome. So with that being said, let's go ahead and shift. And sorry, took the reins back from you there, but
do it, man.
Let's go ahead and shift. And you brought that we like crash course discussed this a little bit last week,
right?
But you brought it up to me right before the show last week. Hey, dude, if you don't have anything for the show today, I'd love to get into this topic. We didn't have a ton of time last week. We said we were going to get into it a little deeper today, and that's what we're going to do.
Sure.
Before we start really breaking down, I know last week we hit really fast 4 pillars of success: stress, sleep, exercise, and diet. And we talked kind of just high level around that, but go a little deeper first, and just kind of why do you feel this is it's a completely different topic than what we normally talk about on the Web Buzz podcast, but yet you felt it needed to be discussed. Talk a little bit about that first.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the same thing like I was just talking about, a tool, right? That you need to perform your craft and to take you to that next level, or even just kind of compete, just be able to compete. Well, it's great. We look at the the tangible things, right? The tools, the systems and things we have to put together. And we come to the table and we go through all these trainings and we're really excited about setting up an entire system for our business. And sometimes they end up failing and we don't know why, right? And we try to learn, like I mentioned before, we try to learn from our mistakes, look at it as a learning curve or an educational piece, not just a failure. Well, one of the things why it was so important for me to bring it to the table is because I got affected by this, right? It's like there was a time where I hit a kind of like a wall in business and trying to figure out like, yeah, I feel like I'm doing everything right. I feel like the training that I'm going through, I'm following it right to the T. I feel like my expertise is up to par, at least to be in the race, right? And my tools, my systems are there, but why do I keep, something is not right. Something's still holding me back and I need to dig deeper. And when I was introduced, and I know there's a lot of models out there, and I'm sure in future podcasts we'll talk about other ways, but this was one model that really stood out for me because it was very simple. It was actually so simple. It was in front of my face, and I was like, "Oh man, I can already see myself missing on some of these things, and I can see if I make adjustments to my lifestyle, right? And
Mhm.
I kind of start balancing out some of these areas, and I actually admit to myself that I am kind of like failing in some of these quadrants, right? One of the four quadrants. How if I make an effort to improve myself in one of these four pillars, how it affects the rest of the three pillars and how doing that, once I kind of look at the definition, we'll go through each one of them, how one of them can actually improve the whole thing, right? It's sometimes one thing that you're doing that's bringing your entire, body down, body and mind. And that's why I kind of was thought it was very important, because if you don't have kind of control or really confident and ready to go with your body and mind, it's really hard to execute and come at full capacity for your business, right? Really show up. And I mentioned a lot last week, not just for your business, but for your family or whatever it might be that's important to you, right?
Right.
And that's why I thought it was really important, because I've been using this and I've been looking at this model quite a bit and really trying to balance myself and how to kind of go into each one and improve it. And I'm already seeing some improvements in my life and in business and how I show up.
It's funny you bring that up. I've been like binge listening. One of the benefits that I've had moving offices, it added a commute to it. You know where my house is to where the old office was, right?
Right.
It was like a mile down the street. I barely even had time to turn a radio
You throw
channel.
a rock and hit it.
Exactly. But now I actually have a commute where I'm going to the other side of the valley. And right away, Deanna was like, now you actually have to deal with traffic and all that kind of stuff. Welcome to the LA Valley commute life. And I actually saw that as a blessing because I could get back into first thing in the morning, leave the house when I'm heading over here to the office, get something on that actually is inspiring or educational or learning. And it's given me the ability to go kind of like binge listen to some podcasts that I otherwise wouldn't turn on because, well, what the hell, I'll be at the office in 2 minutes. I'm not going to
Right.
turn anything on, right? And I've gone back into some old ones that I used to love around Dan Kennedy. And if you guys don't know who Dan Kennedy is, he's like the godfather of direct response marketing. I've learned a ton of marketing things through Dan Kennedy podcasts and courses and videos and all that kind of stuff over the years. But I was just listening to one this morning, and Dan went on this huge tangent in the episode where he was talking about the 99% mentality. And what he was really saying in that is um, they asked if he would rather be in a US based audience or a UK based audience. And he said, I would do UK over US any of the day. And it's because the 99% mentality. And I was at a red light. All of a sudden, I was like, what the heck is he really trying to say here? And it hit me. The 99% mentality is the mentality of the individual that's like, oh, and I love how you've been using the word invest in the business. The 99% mentality is the person that's, I don't have the time for that. Oh, that's going to be too expensive. Oh, that's going to be too hard. Oh, I didn't get good sleep and I'm cranky today, so I don't want to do it. Oh, right. Excuse. He was like, there's a clear cut distinct line why there's the 1% of people that are successful and the 99% who make up all the other mediocre success. And it's the 1% don't carry that 99% mentality. And it hit me. It's exactly what we're talking about here. It's these 4 pillars. The way we look at these pillars, the way that we look at the pillars of success, stress, sleep, exercise, and diet. If I show up in each of those pillars with the 1% mentality, I'm going to crush it. And they're going to feed off of each other, and they're going to bring success. But if I show up to even one of those pillars with the 99% mentality, it's like a heavy anchor just weighing me down, pulling me down on there. So anything else? That was about the
Yeah,
shift.
no, that's deep, man. And I know this is a business kind of digital marketing, real estate kind of podcast, but this is the foundation. This is basically a foundational piece that sometimes we all miss, or a lot of us miss. Some of them, the 1%, right? And don't feel left out. I mean, I was not part of that one. It takes some training. It takes some dedication, and it takes some awareness of yourself too, right?
Right.
Because sometimes you feel like you're heading in that direction. And I'm glad you kind of shared kind of what your commute. That's huge. Because my commute is from upstairs downstairs to my office.
Yours is shorter than my old one.
So it is a couple flights of stairs.
Did you actually
To
put
get.
real pants on today, or are we still sitting there in pajama pants?
Sorry, man. It's I'm still in sweats. I'm still in workout clothes.
It's all right. I'm in shorts today. It's too
So
hot.
I'm good. I'm good. No shoes and just kind of sweats, comfortable. But that does sometimes affect the situation. And yeah, I mean, I'm here in the house. I have a home office. I work, in my studio here. And not having that time, I've had to force myself to really kind of make that time. And I kind of shared with you, and I think I shared here last week. I can't remember, but audiobooks have become a big piece of my process, just my ritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get me in that mindset every day. And as you were talking in regards to what you're looking at with what you're listening to on those podcasts, just the one book that I kind of started my kind of momentum. I'm very, very happy that I did. Actually the second book, to be completely honest, but it's Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Great book.
Right. And just the title, when I've read this before, but it was years ago. Now I'm going back to it. I'm doing the audio, and I'm finding myself kind of rewinding on certain things and rewinding. And it's like, I love this chapter, and that's what gets me going, so it's different chapters every time, but it's funny. It goes back to that 1%. Right. And I remember, I think it was about, a couple weeks ago, maybe, I was in the kitchen and I had it on my phone on kind of like on the speaker, listening to it, doing a couple things, helping out with cooking. And my wife kind of heard one of the chapters, and Napoleon Hill was getting into kind of like more of using words like divine and kind of like how you go about it. And my wife's like, "Are you listening to some church, like some church sermon or something like that?" But and I'm like, no, this is actually kind of a business type, someone that did a study on all these successful people, right, in history, and trying to find a correlation between kind of their success. And it's simple. Right? It goes back to these pillars, right? How you show up. It has nothing to do with business. Whatever the business was is how you show up. And when you show up and you're ready to go and you have that foundation, man, you can knock down mountains just kind of listening to this stuff. So it's really powerful, I think. But anyway, with that, maybe we can kind of transition into the actual kind of pillars and start from there. So I'll kind of kick it off here, Shawn, with just kind of reintroducing the topic here. So it's the 4 pillars of success, right? And once again, this isn't the only model. There are many out there, but this is one we wanted to talk about and share. But these 4 pillars, just to remind you guys, include stress, sleep, exercise, and diet. And if you guys recall from last week, I shared a little bit on what was my main kind of like the one pillar that I was not doing very well, very good in, and was sleep. Right, I tend to be that workaholic that Shawn always kind of tells me, turn off your computer. It's a great partner because of that, right? Great business partner who tells you to stop, right? So so yeah, so that was a big one. And I've been working really hard, and it's awesome when you also have a mastermind group. And what I mean by a mastermind group, just a community of people that you surround yourself that support you in these decisions, and you support them and what they're doing, right? So it's been really funny. I've been getting messages from Ryan from our mastermind group saying, "Hey, get off your computer." When she sees me still on at night, but it's been
Thank you,
pretty
Ryan.
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan, if you're out there listening.
But she's been kind of holding me accountable for that stuff. I know you do it as well. But just seeing that and showing up in the morning, our team, our digital agency team, right? I'll show up for our morning calls, and I'm fired up, and they're like, "What'd you do? Did you get some sleep or something?" So they kind of know what's going on when I show up and I'm excited and I got energy in the morning. I'm ready to
Yeah.
go. They know I got at least 8 hours sleep. So that's been a big one. And that's kind of improved, kind of like lowered my stress, giving me energy to exercise. And then my wife has been a big part in getting my diet straight and really kind of helping me, making sure that I'm eating correct. So I got to give her a shout out, because I told her that was my goal. And she's been a huge help. So just with adjusting my sleep, showing up with more energy has allowed me to kind of clear up and work on these other three pillars. So it's been awesome. But anyway, that's
Well,
what I
hopefully your
got on that
wife
one.
can be the be the miracle worker, because as I look at the four pillars, there is one glaring one that doesn't do so well, and I managed to fight through the other ones because of it. But the diet side, we actually just had a conversation with your wife yesterday
Yep.
about this because of this exact reason. Um, but for me, I think the most important one, or the one that I know I need to have kind of a focus on at all times, and when it's not there, it's around the stress quadrant. The stress quadrant for me is I need something outside of the day-to-day grind to control the stress. For us, it's the canyoneering. It's the going, and some would say, what the hell you mean? That is just a whole other layer of stress for these types of trips, especially this weekend where we're going multiple hours outside of no man's land, no other bodies around. There's four of us dropping in. I was telling a couple people the other night what we were doing, and they just looked at me and they're like, and wait a minute, how are you getting down there? But for me, that is a stress relief. It's probably a lot like diving for you, right?
Yep.
There's stress in diving. There's stress in the planning for it. There's stress while you're there. There's stress in when something maybe doesn't go the way that you thought it was going to go, or something kind of unique catches you. But it's also a relief or a release of stress from the normal day-to-day grind. And I can always tell if we've been going too hard in business and Dan and I haven't gotten away. And it doesn't always have to be canyoneering. It could just be getting out to the mountains, getting the heck out of here. We last weekend we took a night and I told her, take half a day Friday, pack up, let's go. And we went down to San Diego, got a place over at Paradise Point, had played hooky for the afternoon kind of thing. 3:00 in the afternoon, sitting at the bar, having some cocktails overlooking Mission Bay with the sun and the palm trees and the seagulls. That was a release, right? Because we had just come off of the event. I had just come off on, 3 weeks leading up to the event is probably just as stressful, if not more, than the actual event. Plus that stress, plus the fatigue coming out of it. It was like, I just needed to release a little bit. So for me, stress is the big one. And when I put the focus on releasing that stress, decreasing the amount of stress that I'm putting on myself, I notice I start sleeping better. I start having the motivation to exercise, because that's the other side. If I'm too stressed out with everything else going on, I start to push the exercise side to the curb, because I'm like, I'm strong enough. I'll just muscle through whatever's next, right? And then the diet goes to to hell because you're stressed, you're running over, running like crazy, and it's 6 o'clock at night. Nobody wants to cook. So what do? You go grab the burger
Yep.
or the fried chicken or the Taco Bell or
Easy
something like
fix,
that,
man.
right?
Tastes so good. Tastes so good.
Yeah. But if I go back to the stress side, for you, it's sleep. For me, it's stress. I'd be curious to hear from some of you guys out there listening, what of these four, the stress, sleep, exercise, or diet, what are and it could be multiples, what are your kind of levers that you notice, hey, if I don't focus on this, all this other stuff goes to shit. And if I do, then this one or two lever of these four pillars here kind of balances me out, kind of keeps me back. I got more to share or say on this, but I don't want to hog all the airtime. If you got something else,
Yeah, no,
add it.
no. I think for our listeners out there, just kind of there is no wrong or right answer, right? To this, it's yours. This is yours. This is a model that you have to look at and really analyze, kind of where you stand in those four quadrants, right? And it's like the stress, sleep, exercise, and diet. And then really ask yourself, if you're kind of questioning this model, be like, well, for me, right? If I were to get more sleep, would my stress go down? Would I have more energy to exercise? Would I have more time to focus on my diet? And for me, it was yes. And when I tested it, right, because that's the ultimate thing, you have to test this like anything else. It boom, all of a sudden I have more energy. I mean, like I just shared, it's like I show up to my morning meeting with energy, and my team already knows something's different, right? So it's one of those things that you got to look at. But how do you stay consistent, right? How do you stay consistent with some of these things if you really want to do it? And those are called rituals, right? You got to kind of create some rituals. It's not easy. This kind of staying consistent on some of these things are very difficult for me. One of the things for the sleep, I've made it, and I'm gonna admit it hasn't been perfect, but I'm working towards it. There's a ritual where I have to cut myself off at 10:30 Eastern time. Just cut myself off and get off the computer, right? And
So
nothing's
then what
gonna
the hell were
fall.
you doing last night? Because you
Exactly.
were
That's why I say I
sending me
failed.
things at midnight.
But it used to be the key here is it used to be every day that I would work till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Right?
That's no
I
lie,
just
folks.
go and it just never ends, right? The emails don't stop coming, the things to do don't stop coming. So eventually I'd just be so tired I'd go, and then I wake up 3, 4 hours later and do it all over again. That did not work. Now, yeah, there are some days that I'm still kind of staying like last night. I had some things that I wanted to get done, but you know what? Tonight and keep going. I have to keep going. It's a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress. So those rituals are huge. Being able to create rituals that you kind of even write down, and you know what you have to do for each one, so you can hold yourself accountable. And I go back to the mastermind group. That mastermind group can be your friends, your family, right? Just someone that can help you to hold you accountable for what you're doing. Because it is really hard. It is kind of a lonely process sometimes when you do it alone, and it's really easy to tell yourself, right? Because it's your little voice that's telling you, it's like, it's okay to get that chicken, right, Shawn, get
Mhm.
that burger. And if you don't have an accountability mastermind group that you can go to, once again, that I don't want to call it that you have to go pay and join something. This can be just a friend, a family, right? Your wife, your husband, whatever. For me, it's even my kids. Right? They kind of hold me accountable for certain things to take them and do stuff. So those rituals, I think, are very important and something to kind of worth talking about and putting down on writing, and trying to do that to hold yourself accountable for these things.
You ready for a little twist on this?
Let's twist it up.
What if I told you all four of these could actually be look at them as the four pillars of success in business as well? Like we've been talking this whole
Mhm.
show around mind body, right? Stress,
Right.
literal stress, sleep, physically going to sleep, exercise, putting in the work at the gym, cardio, that kind of stuff, diet, what we eat. We're ready for this? Let's take all four of these and jam them just into business.
Hmm.
Stress, healthy stress. What do I mean? Healthy experiences or environments where you're a little nervous to actually do something. Go real estate here for a second. You're hesitant to make offers because you're scared. You're nervous of what they might say. That stress of you doing it, that's healthy stress. Having balance in that and paying attention to, if I don't focus on giving myself a little healthy stress, I can't grow. Sleep. Not physically go to sleep in your business, but instead, do you have time, or are you spending enough time in deep thought, deep thinking, deep planning for your business? Exercise. Are you testing, trying, putting new things into place, putting a new campaign out, dabbling with something else that you haven't done in a while? Right? Exercising some of the knowledge, exercising some of the skills that you have. And then diet. Are you spending enough time consuming education? Are you spending enough time getting educated? Are you spending enough time in that healthy diet of your business, learning something new or learning the next piece? And if you've got way too much going into one of these buckets, one of these quadrants, all you're doing is you got really good diet in your business. Well, guess what? You're definitely not exercising because you're spending all your time consuming. So you're not putting any thought into the business because all you're doing is learning, and you're not letting yourself really resonate on that and think about where, how, when does that come into effect, or when do I, need to focus on that. And you're definitely not putting yourself into stress by actually implementing and trying it out and doing some of the things that you're a little nervous to do. So I know we've been talking the literal mind body, kind of components of this and how it helps us show up better every day in business, but you could take all of these and really take a look at it from that business standpoint. How well are you doing in the 4 pillars of your business? Little fun twist.
Yeah, that's you took that and made it a pretzel, man. That was a good one. That was a good one. And I have to kind of I have to agree with all that, because you look at this, and one thing that popped in my head as you're going through this is we're talking about us, right? We're entities, we're people, we're humans, right? And we're talking about this, but your business, sometimes it's really easy to kind of look at this. It's a business. But guess what? The government looks at it as an entity, as an a person, right? So why not treat it with these type of models and feed it and kind of like nurture it, right? And when you look at it the way you broke it down, Shawn, you look at the stress, the sleep, the exercise, the diet. I mean, as you were going through each one of these, I'm thinking in my head what those represent for our business, right? And everybody, for a real estate investor business, what is that? Because sometimes you're a solopreneur, sometimes you have a team, right? And you got to include in that business, that includes everybody, right? So when you look at,
well, you just add a whole other layer when you bring the team, because now
right.
Look at that. What's the stress of the team?
There you go.
The sleep of the team, not their physical sleep, but are you spending time as a team collaborating and discussing and thinking? Exercise as a team. Are you building culture? Are you practicing?
Culture is huge.
Are you training? These type of things, right? And then the diet side, are you helping your team consume new knowledge? Are you helping your team also get new skills? So you added a whole other layer just by bringing the team in there.
No, that's awesome, because when and I mean, we can go. I'm looking at the time too, trying to not bring up something that's going to keep you going. So I'm going to stick to one quadrant. Maybe we kind of continue on this, or we create something different for another episode. But in the diet portion, right? This is a place where I've seen. We've all done it. I've done it. Shawn's done it. There in other businesses as well. Many of you maybe don't know, but you might be doing this as well. In the diet quadrant for your business, sometimes you're consuming garbage, right? Sometimes
you're consuming garbage, McDonald's,
and you're spending a lot of time consuming garbage, right? Meaning trainings that might be outdated, trainings that are being given by people that don't have the experience in the industry that you're in, right? I can go on and on, right?
Totally.
So it's important to kind of like what Shawn and Deanna did last night with the consultation call with my wife, which is uh, pretty much a subject matter expert in what they were looking for, which is she's a registered dietitian. They were looking for some guidance, right? So she sat there and gave them that, some information they can consume. That's healthy, right? And what they were looking for, that's healthy information. Sometimes in our business, we're consuming a lot of information that's leading us in the wrong direction. What if that expert that you're looking for, Shawn, what if my wife last night would have said, great, that's great. You guys want to be healthy, you want to lose weight, I want you guys to go to McDonald's. Then tomorrow, the next day I want you to go to Wendy's. Then the next, it's like, wait a minute, wait. And sometimes we even know we're consuming garbage, right? Information, and we continue. So it's also just kind of be aware, look for those things, and it does matter what type of information you're consuming, what kind of diet your business is on, right? Because that information can save you time, can save you money, and can take you to that next level. If it's done correctly, it can take you to that next level a lot faster than you even imagine, right? I've seen it done multiple times away, right? Just by watching, and then us testing, going to exercise. Shawn, tell me how many things we've tested. We're going into our third year in business together, and the testing portion is very, very heavy, and not everything's worked. I'll tell you what, probably, Shawn, we can probably say majority of things don't work, right? Because we're testing a lot. And then the ones that we do, we double down, boom. And then we actually start creating a diet for that piece that we created, that we saw works. And then we just start consuming that healthy information so we can grow that piece. So hopefully I know we kind of took it in a whole different direction, but it kind of blends your foundation as a person, as an entrepreneur, to show up very, very strong for your team and for your business. And then from there, take the same model and translate that into your business and what that looks like, and see if your business is actually running pretty balanced in these quadrants.
Yeah. And I'll end with this. You can't put any focus on this at the business level the way we just kind of pretzeled this thing up if you can't identify and focus on it personally, and vice versa. Personally, it's only going to do so much if you don't understand how to then apply it into the actual business itself. So to me, it's a and conversation, not an or. This isn't, focus on it only in your business or focus only on it personally. It's got to be both. You've got to focus both personally and professionally around these four quadrants. If you really want to see the success, and that, going back to the Dan Kennedy analogy, that's the 1%. That's the 1% thought process. The 99% mentality goes, that's too much work. Oh, that's going to be too difficult. Or, no, I'll just keep on keeping on. If I just keep going, it'll eventually get better.
Right. Which is a standard, right? It's a standard.
Yeah. I could go on forever. He eventually took that analogy, just to give you a quick summary on it. He eventually took that analogy down to the Subway owner that just shows up, right? So the Subway's franchise, he was like, it's built for the person that wants to just show up, that just wants to be status quo. And a good Subway location, as long as the person can make everything the way the pictures show, blah, 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 typical Subway location. At the time of the recording, this was like 4 or 5 years ago, he's like, would make them about $30,000 a year. So that guy goes and owns 3 of those, just shows up, he makes $90,000. But $90,000 really isn't, you're not even coming close to the 1% yet, right? He's like, and then all of a sudden, somebody opens up Jimmy John's right across the street, cuts the market share in half, and both of them are just showing up. $90,000 goes to $45,000 a year, and they're just showing up. And some might be happy with that, but that's the 99%. And that's where my mind really started to open up, that it was like, no, this has got to be high-level thinking in both areas. There's got to be solid focus on both sides of that coin to really push things to the next level. When I look at what you and I have done over the last couple of years with Top Results Consulting, REI Toolbox, and I talk to other agencies that have been around 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Here we are starting our 3rd year as an agency together, and we're in their position. we're at their level in 2 years, going into our third year on what they've done in 10, 15, 20 years. It all comes down to one thing: the 1% mentality, the 1% thought process, the focus on these areas, both life and personally. And we both understand it's not going to be perfect every day. We're going to screw up. We're going to not have the focus in the right areas at times. But it's, to your point, having that other person, having that circle of people, mastermind, whatever the case, friend, solid business partner, whatever it might be, to pull you out of the darkness, pull you out of the rut when they see it, and being willing to allow that other person to do just that. That's what's going to help grow. So I'll end my soapbox run there, so we stay on time.
Yeah, absolutely. We nailed it, man. We're just a couple minutes over, so we'll start kind of wrapping this up. Hopefully, for those of you listening out there or watching it live, yeah, thank you for listening. Hopefully, this was beneficial, and I'm really hoping that we get some comments, kind of talking about this and where you struggle. I'd be really interested, kind of like Shawn said, where you struggle, where it's at, and even make it a little fun. Use this 4 pillar of success for your business. Just kind of try it out and just take it from there and see what you come up with, because you'll be surprised. I know I was surprised when we started looking at this. Like, I saw opportunities, right? It's always when you kind of identify something that might be a little lower, look at it as an opportunity. It's like opportunity for growth right there. So it's never a bad thing to find opportunities for growth in your business and your personal life. So with that, guys, any last words, Shawn, that you want to kind of leave us with?
No, I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks we're gonna have some fun episodes for you guys. I'm trying to line up a couple of our clients. We've had some clients doing some really, really awesome things that I want to get them on the show to talk, because it was their digital side that's really been helping them through it. And I want them to be able to break that down, so that you guys can hear what some other real estate individuals have been doing, where they're seeing some of the success, and maybe learn a nugget or two from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So with that, guys, like Shawn said, if you guys kind of want to share this with other people, or you want to listen on it at any of the podcast platforms, Apple, iHeart, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anything like that, go for it. I think this is very, very valuable information for anybody, not just entrepreneurs. So definitely share that out if you can. But with that, we are going to leave you. And like Shawn always says, I'm going to go ahead and close it out with his sign off. Here's to your success.